R.I.P. Tom Benson. Shout out to the whole Who That Nation. Now who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. Oh, who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. I say who that? That fever, that flavor, that funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. You got that fever? Yeah, yeah, that fever for the flavor. Got that flavor? Yeah, yeah, that flavor for the funk. I got that fever, my people. See, we not equal, my people. I'm like that dog saint underneath the steeple, my people. Got Drew Brees, he the feature, and our defense the sequel. The D-line and linebackers, man, they coming to reach ya. Make enemies some believers, cause we overachievers. DBs see 50-50 balls and we call them keepers. Y'all can follow this leader, cause Sean Payton will teach ya.
Saints Talk listeners, what's up? We back. It's another week of Saints Talk, the official podcast of NewOrleans.Football. I'm your host, Kevin Washington. I'm here with the one only Nick Underhill with the Nazir Jones shirt on. Bright orange, black letters. Can't see the print on there, but he holding it down.
Got to, man. Got to.
All right.
Album of the year.
There we go. Yeah. Still seeing. We'll get there. We could do a whole pod about album of the year if you want to. Just drop it like Patreon for the supporters. We should do that like a monthly rap update podcast.
I don't think they want it. I don't think they want it. I think it is here for the Saints takes, man.
No, man. Listen, it's a lot of it's some. They want to know what we got to say, man. If you guys think my football takes are hot, you got to get these rap takes. We got better takes though, Nick. What you got?
I got nothing, man. Just got the bye weeks here.
I was trying to give you the little, the sponsored by, it's all good. It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to throw you the live. Yeah, you didn't want it.
I'm already in the bye, man. I'm off the game a little bit here. But yeah, shout out to Daniel Stant holding it down. Are you a business owner needing some guidance with your daily accounting? Daniel Stant CPA can help get your finances in order. They provide relevant accounting information, detailed analysis, and clear communication in a timely manner. Call today, 318-321-2765, or visit santcpa.com, santcpa.com. And also, if you're listening to this, you aren't subscribed to the site, sign up to the site, NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. 2 more episodes every week during the season. And we just need your support. So if you're listening to the show, you like the show, you want the show to exist, continue to go on. This whole operation is funded by you. We need your support to keep doing what we're doing. And we always need more people to sign up. So sign up to the site, support us, help the show out, get more shows, get written content, and just help us keep doing what we're doing.
That's it. That's all we got.
That's it.
Thank you guys for supporting. All right. So question. Who needs this by more? The Saints, people who cover the Saints, or the fans? Rank them in order.
I think the Saints need who needs the buy the most?
The fans, the people covering the team, or the team. I'm going the fans number one. Fans need a buy.
Yeah, maybe they do. I mean, I think it's a team. It's coming at the right time for them. I think that with all the injuries, all the stuff they went through, I mean, it feels like late November right now. And I just think that getting the time off now helps them a lot. Early in the season, coming into the season when the schedule's released, you're looking at it and saying, man, the timing of this is horrible. It's the worst possible time. That they could have this buy at. But man, it feels right on time right now, especially with all the injuries. It's just another week. It's a little bit of a buffer, a little bit more time, and it's one less game you got to play with all these people out. I mean, the list of people that are out right now is just absolutely outrageous. Mike Thomas, Will Lutz, Tron Armstead, Eric McCoy, David Onyemata, Marcus Davenport, Nick Vanette, Quan Alexander, Tony Jones Jr. Am I missing anybody? I could be. I mean,
Cody
it's a long
Parker.
list. He's gone.
He's out of here.
Yeah, he got cut. So
he had a groin or something before the game. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, give credit to him for playing through it. I mean, that's cool.
He attempted to play through it.
Yeah, he attempted to play through it. And hey, I mean, They needed a guy, if he was hurt, you got hurt before the game, there's no other options. You still go out, you do your job in spite of knowing, you're on the fringe of the job carousel,
Job, yeah,
really.
I'm gonna
I
say,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, and he's one bad game of falling out of the NFL forever and not being the impression that everybody has of him. So shout out to him for putting it on the line for the team, but he just didn't get it done.
Yeah,
He simply
yeah.
didn't get it done. And if it was because he was hurt, so be it. But I mean,
Kickers are like cans of Lysol when the pandemic first started. Like,
it's crazy right now.
they're nowhere to be found, bro. Like,
And you look around and it's, I made a comment today on the radio with T-Bob and them, and I was just like, you look
cheer.
around the league, and just having someone that can make a kick right now is a luxury, and you're bringing guys in off the street. Man, the guys that are already on teams can't make kicks right now. So you want people off the street to come in and do the job? Like, it's
Not
just
happening,
crazy
bro.
right now. I don't understand why it's such a bad year for kickers. Like, is there something going on with the K balls, or is it just a weird
Man,
sample? Like, it's
yeah,
hard to
that's crazy.
understand why all of them are struggling right now. It just doesn't make sense, and it's a league wide epidemic. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If I was Will Lutz, I'd hold out.
He just got the big contract, man.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're a kicker right now and you good,
Yeah, price of
your
the brick just
value
went
will
up.
never be higher.
Yeah.
Like, this is your moment. This is your moment. Like, straight up. This is your moment. Like, I'm all about players getting their bread, but I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, this not Facebook, not company over country, but you gotta do what you gotta do, man. So,
Mhm.
but I do think that it seems like the biggest storyline from this team from day one was like injuries and surviving until you get like certain players back, right? And I'm not sure which one came first because blur, but I know that's Mike and Onyemata, right? So you see that Mike is going to be out, so you're like, okay, well, how are they going to survive until this guy returns? And then David Onyemata is out, and then all right, you just got to basically get to week number 7 or game number 7, excuse me, because he's suspended for 6 weeks for him to get back. So it seems like that was the storyline for this team from pretty much from the start, and it seems like that may be coming to an end, and we can kind of finally start to like evaluate who this team really is. Because I'll be honest, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what the Saints are really. All right, I think they're a team that's going to win more games than they're going to lose, but I think that that may be as far as I go at this point until I see more.
I mean, I think they're definitely going to be a team that wins more games than they're going to lose. Man, the job Sean Payton, like on it, like, it's hard to hype like the Giants game being what it was. Outside of that, I mean, the fact that they're in a position where they have a winning record, being all these guys out, being post Breeze. I mean, it's been a pretty incredible job just to be at this point. They should be 4-1 if they hadn't.
That Giants game hurts though. Oh
yeah, if they hadn't made those mistakes,
brutal,
I mean,
bro.
they'd be sitting in
that game. Is
4-1 feels significantly different than 3-2.
3-2. It's only because it's a few 3-2 teams, but 4-1. You're up there with the. I'm not saying you're not good as Buffalo, but those are the teams that have that record. So,
just a lot of teams don't sit in this position though. Like after losing the all-time great Hall of Fame quarterback, I mean, they have the Steve Young succession plan, the Aaron Rodgers succession plan. A lot of teams just
Alex
don't.
Smith succession plan.
a lot of teams just aren't sitting in this position after that. And I mean, it's incredible that they're this competitive, and really it's a conversation about how good they can be, not how do they stay afloat. How do they, they're going to stay afloat. And I don't think, jury's still out. It's impossible to have a conclusion on Jameis. Jury's still out on him at this point. But even if things go sideways, I don't think that the coaching staff's going to allow it to just veer off.
It'll spin out of control.
Yeah, they'll keep it under control to some degree. They'll just pull back, and you'll be, despite having Mike and Traquan and everybody else, you'll still just be at that 23 attempt.
You'll run that Giants and New England game offense. It's always in the tuck.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just a matter of how good they can be at this point. And you're still doing what you got to do and learning, figuring out what the quarterback is. We've seen, I think, a little more good than bad. It's hard to judge being that they're without everything, but I like where they're sitting right now going to the bye. Honestly, if you said 3-2, I don't think anybody would be upset with that coming out of it.
knowing what you knew like about the injuries, if you said you're going to be down
God.
this guy, well, you take 3-2, people would have been yes before you even got the sentence out of your mouth, right?
If you would have gave me that list of people and just said, hey, by week 5, all these guys are going to be out. Plus, look, Deontay Harris, Taysom, having injuries on top of it.
Of a game,
I would have assumed that the season was screwed, that you were so far behind the 8 ball coming out of the first 5 games that they're just, it'd just be a fight for respectability.
I'd have been like, oh, the Giants is the only team they can beat. That would have been my take.
Yeah. But look, coming out of the bye, like I think things set up pretty decently. Seattle's a winnable game. Tampa's, that's going to be a hard game.
I'll say this:
they can beat Atlanta, they can beat Tennessee, they can beat Philadelphia.
Back to Tampa. That's a Halloween game in the Dome. Those games have a life of their own. I'm not saying they're going to beat Tampa, but I think they'll be competitive because that's just one of those. It's a division game.
They'll lose more than this probably, but let me see, 1.
All right, let's do. All right, there we go. So let's look at the remaining schedule. I'll keep tally, and then you call out win or loss based on what you think will happen. Right. So there we go. All right. So Seattle.
I think they'll win that game.
Okay, win. Tampa Bay.
I think they could win that game being at home, but it's a tough game. We don't know enough. I got to go with Tampa Bay at this point.
All right. So let's see. Next we have Atlanta in New Orleans.
That's a win. Saints
at Tennessee.
I think they'll beat the Titans, man. They play the run well. You take the run away. I think you can win that game. I mean, they got the corners to cover. I think they're going to win it.
All right. Okay. Saints at Philly.
I think they should beat Philly.
Buffalo in New Orleans.
I think the Bills beat them.
I think the Bills beat them. Saints. Oh, man, this is a tough. This is a tough streak. So Cowboys at Saints.
We don't know enough yet. This could end up being a winnable game if things gel on offense and everything. But Dallas is playing well. There's a lot of unknown with the Saints. At this point in time, I would give Dallas a win here, but I think that, man, back-to-back home games, like I feel like that
they got to win one of them, right?
I feel like they're gonna win one of them, but I mean, just on paper right now, the way things are setting up, it's just I would probably give that to the Cowboys, but I think they're gonna win one of those 2 games.
I do too.
And there's gonna be a loss where I'm gonna predict the win somewhere else.
That's how it always is. I mean, like I said, the Giants game is your best. It just happened last weekend. Okay, so next game. Oh, Saints at Jets.
Saints
at Tampa.
I'm gonna go Tampa again, but it's tough to see them losing twice. But I mean,
Dolphins at Saints. All right, here's a good one. Panthers at Saints.
I don't think Carolina's going to be as good as people.
Me neither. I never thought their defense is really good. I think their defense is legit, but I don't think the quarterback is who he's always. I think the bottom's going to fall out a little bit on their hot start. Yeah, and it kind of already started. I mean, their offensive line has been problematic, especially against Philly this past week.
And then Saints against Atlanta. In Atlanta, I'm taking the Saints again. Somehow we lost Kevin on the live stream. Hopefully we get him back in here sooner than later. But yeah, I'm taking the Saints in the finale. I just think that I just don't see Atlanta beating them. So
oh man, I just lost my whole everything crashed. My bad.
All right, you're back on though. But I'm taking the Saints in the finale. I think that they'll beat
against Atlanta. Yeah, so I don't even know if I put that game down, but I don't think that I did. When everything crashed,
I got 4 losses. I got 4 more losses.
4 losses okay. I got 4 losses, 2 wins. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So that puts them at
8.
10-7.
So 8-4. 8-4. Yeah. Well, no, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
4 more
7,
losses.
8.
I already got 3.
That's 12. Yeah, they got 3. No, that's 11 wins, and you're right.
Yeah, there's 17 games, 10-7.
Man, okay. All right.
They could win one more of those. I mean, very
11-7. Wait,
10-7 gets you 10-7's in the playoffs. I mean, for sure. So I think they're a playoff team. I think
that's 11, bro. That's 11.
4 more losses. They play 17 games, man. That's 7 losses. So that would be 10.
I must have put. Well, I'm just counting my W's. I must have put an extra one here, but yeah, it's all good. Yeah, so I mean, that sounds relatively. It sounds kind of like what the team they are, though, right? It kind of seems. I guess it's your initial prediction was, hey, this team could, you know, win 10 games. I think they're a 10. I think they're a double digit win team, low double digit win team, obviously, but I think they can win 10 games, and seems like where they are kind of lines up with, where you thought they would be. It's just crazy because you go back to that Giants game and it's like, if they win one of those two Giant games, I'm sorry, they got those back-to-back home games against Tampa, right? In Dallas, you got to think they're going to win one of those. And then if you have that Giants game that they laid an egg in, it's a big difference between, 10-7 and 12-5, right? Or whatever the record is, whatever the math says. So
they're 3-2 right now. Yeah, it's 11-6. Yeah, it's 11-6.
okay, you had me feeling like I didn't
Yeah,
have
no,
I didn't have a math degree. But yeah, you had me real insecure. I was like, all right, I know I got. I was
yeah,
like,
so that's 11-6 right now. Yeah, so that's man, they end up 11-6. I mean, shoot, there's room for another loss then on top of that. So you could go. I think 10-7 is the floor. I mean, the rest of the way. Man, if you get healthy, at some point, the lack of depth, just playing how they're playing. I don't know how long you can survive the way they're surviving.
So let me ask you: do they have a lack of depth with their guys? So when you say lack of depth, do you mean like currently they are injured?
Yeah,
I mean,
you're an injury away from disaster everywhere right now. Like you got to get some of these guys coming back and just not be so stretched thin everywhere. Like you're at the point where you can't endure another injury on the offensive line. Like there's
you
no
can't take
more
an offensive line, not at running back, not at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Now you got two of your tight ends out, Taysom and Bennett. Two of your offensive linemen out, McCoy and Armstead. One of your running backs are out, Tony Jones. One of your quarterbacks, Taysom. One of your fullbacks, Taysom. Right? Two of your defensive linemen. Gosh, who else? One of your linebackers are out, and then you got your secondary right now. So you're absolutely right. That's 11-6. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Chad, for sticking up to me. He was like going to kill me about that. Nick is very unapologetic, guys. I'm just let y'all know.
No, I messed it up. I messed up the math.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, just looking at that schedule. I mean, and some things have to go right. I think that, Mike and Jameis, they have no chemistry whatsoever, right? So Mike does seem like one of those guys where, I don't know, you could just throw him the ball and he'll catch it. But I think it's something to be said there. He does have some of Traquan. And then there's some other things that so you just, there's some things that have to go right? Like these guys have to come back and they have to be healthy and they have to play well. And I think they have to catch breaks. Like, I don't celebrate injuries, but Russell Wilson having a hurt thumb, that's a break. That's a break maybe for this year and next. And but yeah, that's a break. So those are the type of things you need to, you gotta have some things go right, because they've had some things go wrong, like bad refereeing,
all right,
not being able to play at home, stuff like that.
Let's do a heat check real quick.
Okay.
Where you feel on Jameis, the confidence meter 1 to 10?
When I said the Russell thing, I knew I was about to open up a can of sardines.
Where you feel? 1 to 10, 10 being confident, 1 not being confident.
Okay, so
the rest of the way.
So I think where did I start? Did we have a previous conversation?
You were like a 2.
No, I ain't saying no 2. Man, that's your second time accusing me that, bro. You're gonna sick Jameis Hive on me, bro. Chill out with that. They believe you, right? Like now I gotta go on Twitter tomorrow.
You were like a 2 points. I think you said like a 2.7.
No, bro. I was like in the middle of the pack. Come on, I was like a 6. Come on, Nick. So right now, Jameis heat check 1 out of 10. 6.5, 7. I think that's fair. 6.5 or 7. I think that's fair. A 7 on the 7.5 on the high end.
7.5.
And that's just because the evaluate. It's just I don't think you can evaluate him. Like he's had some not good plays. And Mickey Loomis did an interview on WWL. If you guys want to go back and listen to it, he took Sean Payton's place on the coach's show. But, he kind of said, hey, man, he's a work in progress. There's some things he needs to work on. There's some things we like. There's some things we don't like. So that's how the organization feels. And I think it's in line with it, right? He's done some things. Not statistically, it's like, wow, right? But I think when you look at the film, there's some things you like and there's some things that you feel like he needs to get better about. But I do think that I got to give him a little bit of give him some rope because he just doesn't have anyone to throw the ball to. It's
Look,
hard to throw the ball against these guys.
the thing with him is that he really hasn't put himself in a lot of bad situations. And if you grade him like a normal quarterback and not on the Jameis scale where there's a predisposition and everything he does is, oh, there's old Jameis, or you're waiting for a mistake. And if you're just looking at him like a normal quarterback, having a fumble isn't something that would
I know,
that would
right?
just set everybody on fire.
Did
Like,
you see the narrative? Like, old Jameis is back. I was like, oh man, they just ready for it to just unload on dude.
it's hard. It's hard, man. It is hard on him. So like a quarterback fumbling once in 5 games isn't really. It's pretty normal. It's a pretty normal thing. At some
Probably
point,
less than average.
at some point, someone's gonna come in and poke the ball away. Like it just happens at some point. And I don't feel like he's put himself in horrible situations. There's a couple decisions he's gotten away with, but a couple. The one pick was a Hail Mary, so it just kind of is what it is. The pick this week, again, a normal quarterback, you're looking at it and it's like, oh, well, his guard got driven back 5 yards and was standing on his ankle when he threw the ball. Like, if that was, Breeze or anybody else, you just kind of move by it and just say, that was bad luck.
Yep. They'd be
And
looking for excuses for why it happened if it was like some other quarterback. Jameis does not get the benefit of the doubt.
And it's not even an excuse to just be like, oh, well, that's bad luck. That's just kind of what it is. Sure, you got to have a feel for it. You should probably see it. You should probably, find a way to avoid it. But I mean,
that one,
not everything's perfect in every situation. And, it just felt like something where with the normal quarterback, that isn't a play you'd really talk about. You just kind of move right by it. You'd be like, oh man, that's not, and that'd be it.
Yeah.
So I feel like for the most part, he's keeping himself out of bad situations. If he continues to keep himself out of bad situations, I think the structure of the team around him, especially once you get everybody back, is good enough to get you to that 10-7, 11-6 point. I think Jameis probably has to be, a little bit on the higher end to get to that 11-6 point. But I think they're a good enough team. If he doesn't make mistakes, defense keeps playing how it is, you get some pass rush eventually. Getting the pass rush is going to be critical at some point. That shows up at some point. I think you can kind of get to that 10-7 point with some health luck in the back half of the season.
Okay, so I didn't want to cut you off. But I do want to rewind a little bit. So with the heat check, right? Because now I got to be dealing with 7.5 tomorrow on Twitter, 6.5, 7.5, right? I'm not even logging on Twitter tomorrow. I'm gonna let you know. Today I took a day, no one told me I was terrible at my job. No one insulted me. It was glorious, right? So tomorrow might do the same. But one question I guess I should have asked you when you posed the question to me is like what's the expectation though, right? So like is the 7.5, the 6.5, whatever I said, like what's the expectation of it? Like when you say, well, if they play like this and they can get to this, well, I can make a case that if they get their guys on defense back and the pass rush returns to what you think it can potentially be, that if Jameis continues to play like he plays now with Traquan and Mike, then he don't need to do anything else. He just needs to get better weapons around him.
I think he needs to be a little more consistent, a little sharper. I mean, I think there's room for that. But bringing those guys in, I think helps with that. Period.
Yes.
Like I just think that there's some easier throws. It becomes a little bit easier to trust what you're seeing. Just, man, you look out there. Just imagine being a quarterback.
No, I'm not.
Who are you, like, which of those guys do you trust to throw open?
Neither.
Who are you throwing to in tight coverage? Like he'll make a play, and if it's close, he'll play defense for me at least.
Kamara?
Who do you trust to do that?
Alvin, maybe.
Right, wide receiver.
No, this team has no wide receivers.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, they don't. They have like they just don't. They don't have weapons. And that's the thing.
It's got to be hard to play that position. Yes.
Yes.
And there are plays where, like, there's guys open, he's not throwing. So I think that's got to become a little bit better. But man, it's probably just hard to trust some of the stuff you're seeing and following through on it.
How do you evaluate a quarterback? Like I think about it, and I think I brought this up in the post-game pod. And
someone said Callaway. Look, I don't know that Callaway's the guy that you can throw into tight coverage. I think when you throw to him in tight coverage, you kind of see, cornerbacks bully him off the ball, and it happened twice this week. happened twice this week. I thought there were 2 catchable passes that he just he didn't fight them off. Like I don't know that he's that guy to make a tough contested catch. In traffic, I don't think we've seen it.
I don't think any of those guys are good NFL wide receivers. I mean,
Callaway's good in his role. Just he's not as your number one option. I just don't think he's there yet. I mean, I think he's still got some development in his game and just physically to be someone that is that consistent number one guy over and over and over. I take that back. He makes like contested catches on jump ball. I'm talking about like a contested catch like over the middle, just a physical type of play. Like he can outleap guys like in the end zone. Like he's been great there, but just that you're on a crossing route and someone's on you and you got to just put the ball. There's a small window and you can put it there and you can catch it and he's gonna keep the guy off him and make the catch. Like I just don't think he's that type of player.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're talking about fourth options in the passing games at this point, though.
I think Callaway's a 3, man. I think you're too hard on Callaway.
I mean, 3, 4, right? I mean, we're all right. 3 or 4 is. I don't think there's a huge gap between, like.
I think he's a 3 that could be a 2. I mean, I just don't think he's quite at that. I think if he's your 2, you're still like, man, they could use another wide receiver.
You're still looking for another wide receiver.
But Traquan's your 2. I think you're still looking for another wide receiver.
So I think whatever happens this offseason, they're still looking for another wide receiver. That's what you're saying.
I'd add one more now if there was an option. Honestly,
I don't think who's gonna, unless the Texans are tanking. Maybe holler at them. Maybe the Jags will give you DJ Shark or somebody. I don't know, but I guess my point is, and listen, this is my personal opinion. I just never thought that the weapons around this team were good. They, I didn't see it, right? And so, I think they gambled a little bit. I think maybe if Mike was back, I think you could maybe, and we spoke about it in the preseason, so I'm not walking back the tape, but it's like, okay, well, if Mike is there, then things are easier on Callaway. Traquan is, whoever you think he is, and then somebody got to be good, whether it's Jawan Johnson, whether it's Adam Troutman, etc. So I just think it's going to be a struggle. I think all year they're going to struggle at that position. I just hope that it's less when you get Mike and Traquan back. And I think that's the best case scenario, right? The play calling becomes easier with Mike. You have some trust with Traquan. You work with him in the offseason. There's some rapport there. And then you can build off that and hopefully, maybe revert to the mean a little bit. If you can get there, then I think, if you go from the 32nd, 31st unit into the 15th, that's a big jump, right? And I think that's probably like what you're hoping for when some of those guys return.
I think if both of them stay healthy the whole season, it's a survivable situation, which is what how I viewed it the whole offseason. It just felt like a survivable situation. But you got to have them for the whole time. And they knew they didn't have one starting at the beginning of the year. So, I mean, that's information we didn't have when you're doing an offseason evaluation. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they got to have them for the rest of the way, though. Like one of those guys go out and you're back in a tough situation. It's again, I can't play it up like it's an unsurvivable situation because they're surviving without both of them right now.
3-2 without both of them.
Yeah,
but then they played, the Patriots, who I don't think are very good. They played the Giants and the Washington football team, who are probably.
I mean, they aren't going to play a lot of good teams the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. When you look at the best teams they're going to play. You got the Bills, the Cowboys, the Bucks twice, and then some winnable games, right? Tampa again. Titans. I look at Carolina and Tampa Bay as kind of games that can go maybe go either way. Yeah. I'm just looking at the schedule. So yeah, I mean, you're right. They have a soft schedule. Just when you look at it, just a couple of games, but
Dallas too.
Dallas and the Bills. That because I don't think they're gonna let Carolina sweep them. That's just hard. I struggle with that. Tampa is a little bit of a tricky one. But in the rest of the games, like I said, depending on where Dallas is right now, I think a lot's going to, hinge on that. So, yeah, I think I think they're a winning team, though, which says a lot, right? Which that's one of the things I wanted to make sure I said during this pod is do all this stuff, like they managed to come out with a winning record. So, I don't think there's much I can criticize, like some things, right? But just when I look at the big picture, I got to give like, I got to take my hat off to this team and the players and the coaches and everyone involved because, I think it's, given the circumstance, they probably had it worse than anyone in the NFL. So,
Yep.
yep. So, question for you, Adam Troutman. Okay, he had probably. I mean, I think it's fair to say he had his best game of the season. He had an explosive play this game. He had a couple of plays that mattered. Do you think that his lack of production is in any way related to him having to take on more blocking duties that Vanette is out, or you just think he hasn't played well?
I don't. I mean, maybe a little. I mean, I guess there's just a few less routes that he's running potentially. I don't see a lot of two tight end plays where someone else.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, it might change how you operate a little bit. Maybe you get him in some more advantageous situations when Van Eck comes back. But I don't think that they're holding back an offensive weapon.
Me neither
at this point because they can't afford to hold back any offensive weapon. So,
yeah,
that's it. And just one more time, you're listening to this, you're on sign up for the site. Sign up for the site. It's in the show notes. The link. Podcast is dependent on support of you guys. You get 2 more every week, exclusive on NewOrleans.Football. That's NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. And again, you like the show, support the show, and we need you guys to support it so we can do what we do.
Yeah, what he said. I'll say this: the post game pod is probably my favorite one that we do every week, and I'm glad we get to do it just for the members because it's like I feel a little safer. Maybe that's like the better way to put it. But yeah, so I would definitely recommend you guys, check out some of the extra content. The articles are the best thing that we provide, obviously, because Nick get to write them and I get to read them. But I commit. I come on. I talk in front of a mic a couple hours a week too. So I'm in there a little bit. But yeah, okay. So, yeah, and like I said, I guess the reason why I posed the question was, I know protection has been it's reared its ugly head at times this year, and it's like I've been looking for like 12 personnel packages, but I think it's a little harder and man, I feel like I'm like scraping the bottom I'm in the back of the refrigerator. Ain't no food in the refrigerator right now. The power went out. Everything is sour. I just found the can of beans and I'm about to make like a gourmet dinner out of it because I'm trying to make something out of the tight ends. But, part of me part of it was like, okay, well, the protection issues, he's probably the best. He is the best blocking tight end they have on the team right now. And, with the weapons that they have, 12 personnel, it seemed like it would have made more sense because I do think, I would say Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill, and Troutman are maybe better options than maybe some of the stuff they had at wide receiver. But yeah, I guess it just lends itself back to him just not having a good year. And I don't know, man. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. I like I said, everything is just contingent on them coming back, some of those players returning and coming back and being healthy. So do you have any indication of which guys, like I know you reported, I mean, you tweeted today that Lutz may need an extra week or maybe some extra time. So is there any indication on what guys are coming back?
Lutz sounds close. I just don't think he's going to be ready coming out of the bye. He might need that week. And then, potentially I think you start looking at the next week is a possibility for him. But at this point, he's week to week. It's no longer like he's out for this long. It's just kind of evaluated each week, see how it goes.
So the last 10% of the injury or something. Yeah. Okay.
He's getting closer. Traquan should be back. I think Traquan. We'll see on Mike. I mean, it's a mystery at this point. Honestly, it seems like every indication feels like he should be back.
So what's his officially he can return back to practice that Wednesday of the week of practice for the Seahawks, is that right?
Yeah, he can start practicing. So
okay.
Yeah, when they come back.
Okay.
Deontay, immediately after the game, it was kind of like, optimism that it wasn't anything serious.
Okay.
Tried to get an update.
Okay. You know, Sean, he ain't talking about no
couldn't
injuries.
get an
You ain't
update.
gonna hear nothing for 2 weeks. Y'all better get ready for silence.
Yeah, I mean, you know, working the sources. I just couldn't. You know, I haven't been able to obtain that update. I'll stay on it, but
yeah.
Immediately after the game, you know, people were optimistic.
Okay, that's good.
And he did tweet something about going bowling. So I mean, that seems like you're probably okay.
It's very hamstring intensive.
I don't know if it's Wii bowling. I don't know if bowling is you know. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I saw the tweet about bowling. I was like, man,
he got the Facebook Oculus bowling, man.
yeah, he could. I don't know nothing about that, but yeah, maybe
it's lit.
maybe he does. But
guys, by the way, guys, Nick, how many you guys ever seen White Men Can't Jump? Where like, you know, they was like looked at Woody Harrelson and he was like, this dude, no one thought he could ball, and then he started hooping, and then they had to get up out of there. That's Nick and bowling. Like, you know, he step out there, he don't know what he's doing, and then, you know, next thing you know, you feel like you're getting hustled out of, like, you know, some games, man. So I remember that. I got the video. I'll put the.
I grew up in the north, man. So I mean, you have to bowl. Like it snows for 8 months. So I mean, like you're bowling. You got to bowl. Like you got to bowl to survive, man. I mean, it's just kind of like the only thing. It's like the only thing you can do to survive through the winter. So
yeah, I just remember the video. I still got the video, man. I think I saw it like last month, and I was just like, this dude, like, I really thought he was about to suck.
Nah.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, go ahead. We was talking about Deontay Harris and his hamstring in bowling.
So yeah, I think we'll see. I mean, it seemed okay on him.
Let's go McCoy.
I got nothing. I got nothing on anybody else.
Armstead and Van Ness, is Davenport. Yeah, it's been like just straight silence on those guys. So, but yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. So final topic. The Saints typically, not the Saints, just most teams in the NFL, this is the time of year where teams kind of go back and say, okay, well, you know, what do we self-scout? What are our tendencies, et cetera? I think someone brought it up to Sean at one point where it was like, hey, you know, like, do you go back and look at your tendencies against this? He was like, man, I can do that in the computer in 5 minutes now. But years before, it took you years to be able to, you know, or maybe not years, but it took time to get that data. So when you look at this team going into the bye, like, what do you look at and say, all right, these are the areas where I think they should get better? We know they need to get healthier, but just when you look at on the field and what they're not doing well, what they are doing well, what are some areas you think you need to see, like you would like to see them improve on to kind of get to that 11-6 or 12? I forget the numbers because the 17-game season record that we were speaking about earlier in the pod.
Man, there's so much that I think they can get better at. Like everything in the passing game. Everything in the passing game can be better. Everything in the pass rush can be better.
So running the ball, passing the ball, rushing the passer, covering, punting, kicking.
Coverage has been pretty good for the most part. I thought it was a couple spots were surprisingly leaky this week. I don't think the safeties, whenever they were like in man coverage, looked good at all. I thought that was a big issue in this game.
Oh, you just thought of another question.
That's something that I think that they can tighten up on. But yeah, okay. I mean, man, so the biggest thing obviously is pass rush. I mean, there's none right now. I mean, it's non-existent. I saw a graphic today about like how many double teams their edge guys are getting. So I think maybe putting somebody in the middle helps open that up a little bit. You know, part of that I think is that to do a lot of stuff with the 3-man line. So you're kind of inviting that extra blocker to open up a rush lane.
Or maybe they're doing 3-man lines because they feel like they don't have guys that can blitz or
they did coverage. They did it last year a lot too, though. I mean, it's a strategy of theirs. So that's something. That's the biggest thing. You know, I think they can block better on the offensive line. I think that's been shaky. I mean, Jameis feels like he's under pressure a lot, and you know, he handles it extremely well. But he's got to, you know, they can make things a little bit easier on him in that regard. You know, you're going to get guys back though. So, you know, that's the thing with their issues is that you look at them and their solutions. Just you know, on the injury list, and start putting guys back in, and I think a lot of this stuff takes care of itself. It's just you got to get them on the field. People are gonna have to get used to playing with one another, get up to speed, all that stuff. But those would be the main three for me. Is just, you know, both
protection,
lines, and just, you know,
pass game.
Yeah, pass game, big time.
Pass game. So rank them.
Man.
Separation, protection, and pass rush. That's a hard question, right? I mean, especially
I would go separation first because I think that helps you check off some of the protection. Just if guys are getting open quickly, you can protect yourself a little bit better. And then I go pass rush, and then I'd put protection at the bottom.
Yeah, same way that I would do it. Same way that I would do it. Final question for me, because the last one was not.
Is
the
there somebody
final.
else asking questions, or
No, it was my final, and then
you
you
said
said
final for
something.
me? It's just like, all
Oh,
right,
I
so
know.
you're
Yeah,
like you're
yeah.
passing off to like host 2 or something.
I'm gonna pass it off to chat. Chat, if you got some guys got some questions, put them in there right now.
All right, there you go. There you go.
I got this, bro. I got this. So how do you see them incorporating Roby more, maybe coming after the bye, right? I think that's a player that they maybe can figure out a way to use more. Like, do they use him to cover slot receivers more, and maybe do some different things with Chauncey? He's a better coverage player, obviously. Like, I think you got a good player in there, and you really haven't really super found a way to incorporate him yet, which is understandable. He came late to the team. So yeah, just that player, and how do you think they can incorporate him more?
Yeah, so I think one thing, and you just kind of mentioned it. I mean, I think there's probably a way in like a dime package to get him into the coverage of the slot and kind of free up Chauncey a little bit just to play in the box or do whatever. They've used Roby in that role some, so I mean, you could still use him in that role as just kind of almost like a linebacker. Long situations, first and long, second and 23, whatever it is. I think you could put him out there instead of a Debo in some of those situations. And that's kind of how they used him in this last game. In those long passing situations, they put him in instead of a Debo. And I guess that makes some sense. It's just to take away deeper stuff. He's got a little more speed than a Debo does probably. So that could be a way to use him there. But look, man, Debo bounced back really well. He played well.
I can't take him off the field, man.
There's no reason to. Yeah, and look, I think it's going to be an interesting situation. I mean, if Pete Werner keeps playing well, it's the same. It's the same concept, right? I mean, you want your young player to play. You want him to win that job, and if he's somehow playing the other guy, you gotta find a way to at least get him on the field.
You gotta play him.
I see that being probably with Werner and Quan's probably somewhat of a split role. First down Pete, second and short Pete, second and long Quan, third down Quan. I mean, that's probably
third and medium, maybe Pete. Yeah, obvious passing situations. But Pete looked good in coverage, man.
He does.
Like,
so I mean,
just don't take him off just because you like Juice Boy.
I think they like Quan's energy and stuff, though.
Yeah,
so
fair.
I think that they like having him on the field. I think the team feeds off him a little bit. So I think you got to find a way to play him one way or another. But if Werner keeps playing well, like you can't take him. You got to allow him to keep playing. Like it's better for you long term. And if he earns that spot, it's just what has to be done. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they incorporate these guys because they keep building strength on a strength, and that's what you get. It's good problems to solve, though. It's good to have those. The Saints having issues on figuring out who to play at linebacker is not something that the Saints have had to deal with ever. So
and
I mean, to have that problem is a great issue. Yeah, and cornerback. So those are good problems to have.
Yeah, no, I agree. Can you show us your phone background? You mind sharing that with you? Just or did he change it? What you got, bro? No, he's changing it. Y'all.
No, I had a bunch of notifications.
No, my man had a picture of Pete Warner from Michael D.
The wife and the dog, man.
Yeah, that's whatever. Yeah, you just switched that.
and then on the main one, the legacy dog, the OG.
That's the OG.
The OG.
Yeah, the media there. That's
key to the OG.
That's all good. We got love there, but I still think Pete was back there at some point.
No.
So. But all right, man. That's all we got, guys. Please subscribe to NewOrleans.Football. That's all we ask. Well, we ask for more. Actually, I got some more stuff I'm about to ask y'all for after that. But if you can just do one thing, if you only feel like doing one thing, that would be the one to do, right? Because that's how we do this. That's how we do everything we do. That's how the site is running. We had the ops try to take down the site recently. Didn't work. All the little things they throwing out is not working, man. So, but yeah, appreciate all the support you guys are giving. Chat, I forgot to shout out you guys at the start of the pod, but we always appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, NewOrleans.Football / subscribe. That's where everything is. Well, we're going into the bye week. There's a film study article is already up on the site, so make sure you read that. Post-game article went up after the game too. So if you guys haven't been caught up, go check out those 2 articles, and we'll, bye is coming, but we still got we'll still cover what what the team is doing, and we'll still be here. So yeah, with that said, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. We out.